The Roman Empire used to control most of the known world. The Romans were once the most powerful empire on the planet, but that all started to change around 473 AD, when those oppressed by the Romans started to fight back for control. Eventually, what was once the most powerful empire on the planet completely disappeared. This was an important cycle in history and a turning point for empire building on our planet. As we all know, cycles in history repeat themselves, and we may be in the midst of another major cycle when it comes to empire building. And welcome to Shine 365. Our job is to help you lead a better life. Most of the world's history is unfortunately determined by monetary history. You've all heard the saying, money makes the world go round. To some extent, that is true. But what lessons can we learn from the past monetary history? And what can we do now to preserve our quality of living? Much like the Roman Empire started by overthrowing a monarchy and becoming a republic, the United States started by revolting against the monarchy of England and becoming its own republic, the United States of America. Gold and silver were the currency of the Romans in the early empire. Dollars and cents based on the price of gold and silver was the currency of the United States. In both nations, there was low to no inflation at first because both nations used sound money backed by precious rare metals like gold and silver. Eventually, that would change for both nations. At one point, towards the end of the Roman Empire, the government decided that they needed more money for fighting in wars. So they took all the gold and silver and added in other cheaper metals like bronze and copper into the mix. Roman coins were no longer fully real silver or fully real gold, and eventually their currency lost its value. The United States government has followed suit, essentially doing what the Roman Empire did when our own president, Richard Nixon, took the US dollar off of the gold standard back in 1971. Many people didn't realize the severe ramifications of this president's move. But President Nixon did away with treasury notes that used to be backed on a 1-to-1 ratio with gold when he needed more money to fight the Vietnam War effort. He effectively once and for all severed the last ties between the US dollar and gold. Once the US dollar was no longer pegged to gold, the government could print up as much money as they liked without having to worry about having the gold somewhere stored like in Fort Knox. This made money printing fairly easy. When the government needed money, they could just start up the treasury printing press. But with the government recently printing up trillions of dollars worth of money in the last 2 or 3 years, that means that the money we do have, the money that is mine and yours in our bank accounts, is no longer as scarce as it once was, and therefore it is losing value. $1 can no longer buy as much as it used to, and it's only getting worse. Just as the Romans ended up having lots of coins that weren't worth very much, the United States may end up with a lot of US dollars which are not worth very much. Remember, currency maintains its value from its scarcity. So if trillions of dollars worth of money is being printed on large government printing presses, then we are all in for a rude awakening. All of this money printing is causing massive inflation, and inflation is bad for any society. We learned that with the Romans. There are a few things we can do to fight against this inflation, like buying land or property if we can afford it, or buying things like cryptocurrency or gold. Although cryptocurrencies are very volatile, they can serve as a hedge against inflation. Many cryptocurrencies only have a finite amount of tokens, so their price will generally go up as more people gravitate towards them over time. But of course, do your own research, as this is definitely not any financial advice. It's only a deeper dive into currency. So will the U.S. go the way of the Romans? Or will we finally take the initiative to get our society back on track and reset it for a better tomorrow? The next few years will be pivotal to that answer. If you've enjoyed this episode of Shine 365, please like and subscribe. And as always, we'll see you next time on Shine 365.